I guess Palsteron here. And today let's talk about how to efficiently use your time in Torchlight Infinite's endgame, namely boss rushing. Now, a lot of people on stream over on twitch.tv/Palsteron have asked me how I farmed my exquisite box, how I farmed my memories, how I farmed a lot of FEs, right? And the fact of the matter is, the number one thing is obviously you put a lot of time into the game, but that doesn't mean that everyone's strategies are made equal. Just because you don't have as much time as other people to play during the day doesn't mean that you cannot use that time efficiently, and I will show you how with a strat that basically requires a few things, but not too much. And there's 3 such requirements. Number 1 is, in order to do the strategy, you have to have a decently fast build, meaning something with a good movement skill like Leap Slam, Spiral Strike, a lot of attack speed, or something that simply has good movement speed. Then you need to be able to kill tier 7 bosses, meaning the time mark 7 down here. You need to be able to do this. You do not need to be able to kill tier 8 bosses. In fact, this is one of the things that I did. This strategy is one of the things that I did to gear up for tier 8 bosses. You don't ever have to engage with tier 8. And then number 3 is have most of your cards leveled up. You level up your cards by doing a lot of maps and then leveling them up. You get a choice of free cards. And yeah, once you have 5 stars on them, they're basically done. Now, you don't technically need this, but you will make a lot less currency if you don't. So what you can do, for example, if you don't have them leveled up, is you can do some of the lower time marks, like 3, 4, 5, whatever you have at your disposal, run them over and over again. Don't really care about the mobs. They don't drop good stuff. Just run to the boss, do them over and over again, and level up your cards, and then come back here. But with those requirements out of the way, what exactly is the strategy? So our basically goal is to kill as many bosses as possible, as fast as possible, and this will give us a lot of stuff. Number 1, it will give us a lot of T8 beacons. Something that you might not realize with these beacons is you can actually sell them, and tier 8 beacons or rank 5 beacons, whatever you call them, have gone up in price quite a bit. If you price check them here, if you have a lot of them, you can sell them for 2 FE each. Just to clarify, this one of these beacons drops from every single boss, every one of these small bosses. You don't have to kill the Realm Lord. Obviously, we're also going to kill the Realm Lord for other stuff, but all you have to do is kill these after like a rotation of 8 maps. Or actually less, but I'll get more into that a little bit later. Now, number 2 thing is we pair this with Generosity, which is, in my opinion, the strongest card currently in the game. Now, when I started the strat, all I was doing was actually just run Obscure Plaza over and over again. If you don't know, it's very, very quick to get to the boss in that map, and you just do it over and over again because these beacons are so cheap. It doesn't even matter. You don't have to kill anything on the way. But the thing is, over time, I realized I'm kind of leaving a lot of money on the way because obviously I can't really do much with my deck if I do that. And Generous is just so strong that in general, it's just stupid not to use it. And this card is way better than you think it actually is. So Flame Sand drops quite a bit. You have seen it all over. And whenever a Flame Sand drops, you have a 14% chance that it actually becomes a Flame Elementium. Now, you will also have seen that Flame Sand can drop in stacks. For example, 3 stacks, 6 stacks, 10 stacks. This converts the whole stack. So in case you're not really keeping track of which cards you're running and you encountered, for example, a 6 stack of Flame Elementium and wondered what that was, it was this card. So our strategy will basically be incorporate that into our boss rushing strategy. But then the number 3 is also the Lee mechanic. Now, the Lee mechanic is a huge time waster, as you will know. You have to press V and it's going to spawn a ton of mobs. Well, we'll get around that a little bit later. But just so you know, you'll get quite a lot of returns from the Lee mechanic, and that will mainly come, number 1, from these right here, the Seed of Despair, Seed of Regret, and Seed of Worry. You can put this into your map device, or you can sell them. They sell for around about 0.5 to 1 FE each, and you get one of those guaranteed whenever you kill a boss from the Void. Now, the thing is, you also get more. You get these invitations right here. Let me check where they are. These here. Now, Dart, Dive, and Ruin, I think it's around about 60-70% chance. I think it's more than 50%. Some people have said 50. Basically, these are right now around about 2 to 3. If you have a lot, you can probably sell them for more. There's also the last one, which is called, I think, Doom. If you hit that one, it's like, I think, 14, 15 FE as of this recording. But I'll show you how to not waste time with these in a second. So all in all, kill as many bosses as possible while still using Generous, and also make a little bit of profit from the Lee mechanic. Now, when it comes to regions, you can use 2 of them, Thunder Waste and Voidlands. I will be talking about Thunder Waste. This is where I have made most of my currency. Now, 99 of these beacons, 99, currently cost 2 FE. And you're not going to run out anytime soon because you also drop them from a lot of the bosses. The bosses drop tier 7 beacons, they drop tier 8 beacons, all of them. Okay, so our deck basically looks like this. Now, this strategy is laid out to do maps as fast as possible. However, when we get generous, the strat changes because that's the best thing possible that can happen to you. And our plan A is getting generous. So if we get generous, we always do this. Map 1 and 2, anything with extra monsters, into generous, into double Grove of Calamity. Let me explain. So the thing is, generous only stays here for 3 maps. The map you run and then inheritance 2, so it's there for 2 more maps. And what you have to realize is until then, you want to build up as many mobs as possible, because having a ton of mobs in your map means you have a lot of flame sand dropping, and those then have the chance to upgrade to flame elementium. So that is your #1 purpose in the first 2 setup maps, because a cycle is always 5 maps. Don't forget. So map 1 and 2, for example, in this case would be #1, I go for Dottie. #2, I go for this Dottie. I don't know whether they're same name, but basically just anything that has a lot of mobs and inheritance 5. And then it's time for generous, because now there's 3 maps left. We already have a lot of mobs that are now in every single map that you run. Perfect time. What you have to understand is we're not going for some crazy compasses here that are really expensive. We're selling those, right, for more FEs. We're not using them. This is not about making the most out of generous. What you have to understand is you could try and make the most out of generous, right? Run it in a map that takes forever to clear, but it has a lot of mobs. Sure, but you can think about it on the other side. That doesn't really matter, because we could also just be doing the maps faster. The cards don't cost us anything. They get reshuffled, and we get just like more maps with generous in the future, but we're also clearing more bosses. So we do #3 map with generous, all right? And now the last 2 maps are the payoff. And this is where you run Grove of Calamity. The reason you run Grove of Calamity is because it's a very straightforward map. You just have to follow the path. And the big thing is everything along the way, all the mobs are in tight corners, so you're never going to miss mobs. You don't have to like go somewhere, waste time. You go straight to the boss, and on the way, you're going to kill every single mob. And you don't want to waste your time with the league mechanic in map 1, map 2, but I will talk about that a little bit later. You actually want to activate it once. Hold out for that. But whenever you have generous on your map, whatever map it is, if generous is still up, you want to do the lean mechanic because you have a chance to get the gem reward, and then the flame elementiums are going to start flying. But what if we don't get our way? Well, plan B kicks in right here. And this is if we have pity. So this is the scenario where we didn't get generous, but we got a pity. Now, what do? Pity is this card right here. It gives us stage attention points. And what that means is that whenever you complete a map, you don't get 1 here, you get 2, meaning that to get to 8, you would only need 4 maps instead of 8, giving us a quicker boss. So you can already see how this is extremely strong. And if you get that, right, if you get that pity, you're going to follow it up with Obscured Plaza. And just to show you this, I'm going to ruin my run here real quick, show you what Obscured Plaza actually is. So after you got those stage attention, now you can run some really quick maps. All you have to know is that you go up the stairs and you'll get to the boss. So you go up here. Now you want to kill a few mobs on the way, just so you know. So you go up here, the stairs, then here the stairs. All you need to have when you're up at the boss is one of this full. So it has to like glow. So you can press V once. You go up to the boss, you kill him, boom. And after you kill him, you press V. Now, that's all you need to do. You can portal out. If there's no boss here, which you will see immediately if there's a boss. If there's no boss here, there's nothing to begin. Now, the thing you have to know about the league mechanic is the boss usually spawns on the first wave, but only after you already killed the boss of the map you're in, of the layout you're in. So you kill the boss, you press V once, you check for the boss, and if it's not there, you just portal out because the rewards are not worth it because you haven't cleared that much. You would only be doing 1 or 2 waves, right? What that means is if you get a boss, you get a 100% chance for one of these, which are around about 0.5 to 1 FE each. And then you also have a chance at these, which range from 2 FE to 15 FE. But what can happen is, plan C, you don't get generous and you don't get pity. And in that case, there's not much more to do than getting a new deck as soon as possible. And you can do 5 of these in like 2 to 3 minutes. If you have a fast deck or good loading screens, maybe even 2 minutes. It's pretty crazy how fast they go, as you just saw. So yeah, just do what I said, but you don't have pity at the start. Get it over with. Get a new deck and a new chance at a pity or a generous. One thing to not forget is check your Realm Lord. Whenever it's full, you definitely want to do it. You can get the Belt Infinity, which sells unidentified for like 40 FE as of this recording. If you don't want to gamble, that's a good way to make some good income. Otherwise, you can gamble, and sometimes it's like 200, 300 FE, and sometimes it's 5 FE. It is what it is. So one thing I can't really count for in this strategy is random chaos cards. For example, Jealous, or you get a Narrow, right? These cards just fly out randomly. You can't control them. You can't put them into a deck. So whenever you see something like a Goddess of Hunting, you can also do the layout wherever it falls on, obviously, right? Just adjust the strat accordingly. Now, something I want to make clear with what you get your currency from. I already talked about it. You'll get Truth Embers from the bosses. You'll get raw FE drops from whenever you hit Generous, right? You'll get a ton of Flame Scent that you can convert into FEs. You'll get a lot of beacons. Actually, even the tier 7 beacons sell. You'll get quite a few from other regions that you don't want, so you can buy new ones from the region you need. You'll sell these. You'll sell also a lot of Scarabs, because sometimes, obviously, you do the League mechanic. But what you have to realize is that you will drop a lot of small currency that doesn't really have anything to do with your strategy along the way. Because you have auto loot, it just gets soaked up, you don't even see it, right? For example, Soulburst Embers. You're not Ember farming, but you're still going to get hundreds of these, and these are worth like, I don't know, 0.1, yeah, 0.08. So if I have 100, for example, I'll get like 12 FE for them. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the harsh strat with this is you'll have to interact with the auction house, for example, 33 acute fossils. You'll have to interact with the auction house because there's a lot of stuff that you want to sell and convert into FEs. It's very easy to just get hung up on dropping, I don't know, this big unique or this big memory card or whatever. But it's all about the small stuff in Torchlight Infinite. Another big thing about the strat is actually pets. You want to get a ton of these drop rates. And if you have them, the pets with more drop chance for flame fuel, right? So if you have any legendary drop pets, that's even better. But in general, all you need is 2. And that's simply because the lower side down here on default already has drops. So you don't need any pet. I just threw any pet in here that I have. But the other ones don't. This is like resistances and damage. Now, if you need the resistances, you can still do this, right? Switch, for example, get back to the elemental resistances that are usually here. Sure. But the stronger your character is, the more you will be able to fill these out and make your character stronger. For example, here we have a lot of drops, extra drop fuel. So if you have an epic pet that's dropped, that's really, really good. Obviously not as good as the legendary ones. So yeah, this just depends. Whether you put a little bit of money into this or you got a lot of free pets, you're probably going to have 2 drop pets. The level doesn't really matter that much. Just get as much magic find, as you would call it, as possible. But overall, what's the conclusion? The biggest conclusion from this video is if you follow this, you're going to make FEs. However, you have to understand, this game is not about big drops. This game is about all the small currencies in your inventory. And you gotta understand that these can be converted to FE. I have a auction house tutorial out there. I'll link it down in the description if you don't know how to use it. Don't get tricked by the auto loot. The auto loot soaks up all the small things. And if you sell 100 of a small thing, you might get 3-4 FE for it. And you'll get so many of them. If you convert all of that, you are going to have the currency to upgrade your build. I know you're waiting for that big drop. It doesn't happen all that often. I now play 200 hours in this game, and I've found 4 crazy uniques that are like worth more than 50 FE. 4 in total. So don't wait for it. Don't wait for it. It almost never happens. It's all about these small incremental advantages. Nothing else. There's no luck involved, just doing the same thing over and over again. Luck is just a blip in total, right? Like getting that one legendary is nothing compared to all the small currencies that you get. Also, I want to preface that the faster your build is, obviously, the more currency you will make. So while I made a lot of currency, that doesn't mean that you will as well at the start, because it was the same thing for me. At the start, your build isn't that min-maxed. You don't have your gear yet. You're not going to be that fast. Your attack speed is going to be slow. You're not going to know how to do things. You'll get into the zone eventually. So you'll start off making less currency. You'll upgrade your build. You're going to be faster. You make more currency, and so on and so on. And also, I can just say this, learn the boss fights. And if that means having to go in there and dying, that's fine. It happens to everybody. You'll lose a little bit of XP. Who cares? You will learn the boss fights in no time, because knowing how these boss fights work is actually way more important than just, I don't know, brute forcing it. If you're in endgame and you already have your currency, sure, you will be able to just one-shot these bosses. At the start, learning the boss fights will make it a lot easier. And if you're thinking, well, I can't really handle all these tier 7 bosses, and I definitely cannot handle the Realm Lord, well, get going, try out the fights, and you will eventually. Once you have these bosses figured out, there will never be another problem. You will sidestep all their attacks. You will know their patterns. They're very rigid, so you will know what to do. Overall, I hope this strat helped you out. I hope you can make a lot of currency like I did. If you want to check me out over on twitch.tv/Palsteron, if you have some more questions, definitely hit me up. And yeah, happy looting, and see ya. And that's it for the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe. As always, a huge shout out to my Twitch subscribers and my Patreons. I couldn't do videos like this without you. Thank you so much for the support. And yeah, this strat has been a lot of fun. We farmed up a lot of currency. We're now going to invest quite a bit into the next build. Currently, we're trying the same strat in Voidlands. I'm not ready to make a video about it, though. I'm not really sure how good it is. We're doing it with City of Ascension, so maybe keep out For the future, maybe I'm going to put out another video. We'll see. With that being said, since I still don't have a slogan, see you next time.